Which type of heavy bag should you use? Should you use a hanging heavy bag or a standing heavy bag? I'm about to break down the pros and cons of each heavy bag in this video, and I have a little nice surprise at the end, so make sure you stick around so you can see what it is. So let's get right into it. What are the pros of the hanging heavy bag? Pro number one is that you get to hit this heavy bag with full power and really condition your shins and work on your explosive power as well. Because you're filling this up, usually with some type of clothing, or you can even use some sand if you're really hardcore, when you're kicking these hanging heavy bags, they're gonna weigh a little bit more than the standing bags, and for that reason alone, you get a lot more oomph and power inside every single strike that you land. Pro number two is that the bag swings. So whenever it's moving back and forth, you're able to work on your footwork a little bit more and your movement. Typically, when you're fighting someone or you're sparring someone, your opponent's gonna move. They're not just gonna stand there stationary. So I like having my bag swing back and forth so I can work on my timing, my distancing, and my footwork a little bit more as well. Pro number three is that it doesn't really make excessive sound when you're hitting it, as long as you hang it properly and it's not jumping all over the place. And pro number four is that it's usually cheaper than a standing heavy bag, but it comes with some cons as well. Con number one is it's usually harder to set up. As you can see back here, I have a bunch of 4x4s, I have a hanging rack, and it took me quite a while to set this up. And another con is that I had to fill it myself as well. It also takes a little bit extra money depending on what you fill it with. It kind of depends on how hard that you want it, but it's gonna take a little bit extra time and effort to make sure it's filled properly the way that you like it. Another con is that it involves holes in the wall, and it's gonna end up staying stationary right here. You can't move it from room to room in your house. So that is the pros and cons of the hanging heavy bag, but what about this freestanding heavy bag that I got right here? So pro number one is that it's super easy to set up. You literally get this exactly how it is. All you gotta do is fill this stand with some sand or water or whatever it may be, plop this bag on top of it, strap it in, and this FightCamp bag specifically is really engineered well, where it makes it really sturdy and really solid. So this way, even when I'm kicking in full force, it doesn't move. It might shake a little bit, but it's not moving side to side, it's not moving from its place, especially because it's got a little mat underneath it, which helps keep the stand even more stationary. Pro number two is that it's super easy to move. If I need to move this from this position right here over to another spot in my gym or other spot in my house, it is super easy to do. All I gotta do is pick it up, roll it around, and boom, I can put it in my bedroom if I feel like kicking ass in the bedroom. Pro number three is that standing bags like this are usually better setups for apartment spaces or smaller spaces depending on where you live. Normally, if you're renting a spot, you can't really drill holes in the wall and do anything that you want with the rental, right? So when it comes to a smaller space to work with, a freestanding bag is definitely a better option. Another pro, if you look at it this way, is that it's softer. So when you're kicking it, when you're punching it, it's actually a little bit easier on the joints. You don't have to worry about as much conditioning your shins or worrying about your body hurting as much, because when you're punching and kicking or kneeing and elbowing, it's not gonna do as much harm on your body as a hanging heavy bag that's filled with something a little bit more stiff. Another pro is that the standing heavy bags are great for beginners. When it comes to learning the techniques and making sure you're doing everything properly, and just making sure that this is something that I actually like without committing putting holes in your wall and creating a whole setup, a standing heavy bag is a good option for you to get used to it and get into a good flow and rhythm for your own training. Now, some of the cons that come with a freestanding heavy bag is one, typically they move when you strike. I know, me personally, have a lot of power. So whenever I'm throwing strikes on these bags, typically they move. That being said, the FightCamp bag has actually proved me wrong. They flew me out to California one time to film a whole course for their FightCamp app, which is sick. I definitely recommend checking it out. But I would be laying kicks, full force, full power, punches, elbows, knees into this bag, and it wouldn't move. Usually with other bags that I've used in the past, especially when I used to teach fitness classes at martial arts gyms, they would move whenever I hit them, and it would be frustrating because I would always have to reconfigure them and stop my workout in order to move it back to the original position. Another con, depending on how you look at it, is that it's not great for shin conditioning. Yes, you can still smash the bag and lay into it, but it's not going to condition your shins as something as hard and solid as a hanging heavy bag. Another con that is for the standing heavy bag is that it doesn't move at all. It's not swinging like a hanging heavy bag. So the distancing, the movement, the angles that I'm able to create with a hanging heavy bag are slightly better than with a freestanding heavy bag that is just completely stationary. So like I said, I have a little surprise I want to share with you, and that's my new Muay Thai path on the FightCamp app. This is an introduction to Muay Thai. I put a lot of hard work into it. FightCamp flew me out to the studio in California. It came out so sexy, so good, and people have been loving it. So if you want to get a good workout in with the heavy bag, definitely check out the FightCamp app. They also have boxing and kickboxing as well, but most of all, they have the Muay Thai guy there. Also, make sure you check out the next video if you want to follow along a heavy bag workout for Muay Thai. Has almost over 1 million views, so you know it's got to be good. So check it out and let me know what you think.